She'd been standing at the customer service desk for 17 minutes. 17 minutes of being invisible while gate agents helped everyone around her. The white couple who arrived 5 minutes after her got immediate attention. The businessman who didn't even wait in line got a smile and a, "How can I help you, sir?" But Dr. Amara Okafor? She might as well have been a ghost. "Excuse me," she said for the 4th time, her voice calm despite the frustration building in her chest. "I've been waiting." The agent, Rachel, according to her name tag, held up one finger without making eye contact. One moment turned into 3 more minutes as Rachel chatted with a colleague about weekend plans. Around Amara, other passengers shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away. Others pulled out their phones, recording what was becoming an increasingly obvious display of disrespect. Finally, Rachel turned to her with barely concealed annoyance. "Yes?" Not, "How can I help you?" Not, "Sorry for the wait." Just yes. What happened next would become one of the most shared videos on social media that year. Because Dr. Amara Okafor wasn't just any passenger. She was a cardiothoracic surgeon who just returned from a humanitarian mission. She was exhausted, patient, and about to teach everyone in that airport a lesson about assumptions, dignity, and the high cost of treating people as invisible. The flight she was trying to catch had been cancelled. Dozens of frustrated passengers crowded the gate area, many of them upset, demanding answers, taking their stress out on airline staff. But when Amara finally got Rachel's attention and made her request, it wasn't what anyone expected. And what followed, an act of extraordinary generosity in the face of discrimination, would leave everyone speechless, including the woman who'd ignored her. This isn't just a story about racism. It's about character. About how we respond when people show us their worst. And about a moment of grace that nobody saw coming. The cancellation. Flight 2847 to Atlanta had been cancelled due to mechanical issues. 200 passengers were now stranded in Chicago O'Hare, and the next available flight wasn't until the following afternoon, over 18 hours away. The gate area had erupted into chaos. Business travelers demanding to speak to supervisors. Families with crying children. Elderly passengers worried about missing connections. The airline was offering hotel vouchers, but only for a limited number of rooms. First come, first served. Dr. Amara Okafor had watched the announcement with weary resignation. She'd been awake for 36 hours, having just flown back from Ghana where she'd spent 2 weeks performing life-saving heart surgeries for children who couldn't afford medical care. She was bone-tired, emotionally drained, and desperately wanted to get home to her own bed. But more than that, she wanted to get to her daughter's 8th birthday party, which was scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. So she'd made her way to the customer service desk, hoping to find an alternative. Maybe a different airline. Maybe a later flight tonight. Anything. That's when the ignoring began. Amara had experienced this particular brand of invisibility before. The way service workers' eyes would slide right past her to the white customer behind her. The way she could be standing at a counter and still somehow not be seen. It was a special kind of erasure that left no bruises but cut just as deep. She'd stood there, professional in her tailored blazer and slacks, her medical bag at her feet, the same bag that had held instruments that saved 5 children's lives just days ago. But none of that mattered when all people saw was a black woman who could be ignored. Rachel had helped 7 other passengers while Amara waited. 7. Each time someone approached the desk, Rachel's face would light up with professional courtesy. But when Amara tried to speak, it was as if she didn't exist. Other passengers started noticing. A young white woman behind Amara spoke up. "Excuse me, but she was here first." Rachel barely glanced at her. "I'm helping customers in the order they approach." "But she approached before." "Ma'am, I have a lot of passengers to help. Please wait your turn." The gaslighting was almost impressive in its audacity, making Amara doubt her own experience, her own timeline, her own reality. Finally, when Rachel couldn't ignore her anymore without it becoming a scene, she turned to Amara with that clipped, "Yes?" Amara took a breath. She could feel the anger simmering beneath her exhaustion, but she'd learned long ago that showing anger as a black woman only confirmed people's worst stereotypes. So she kept her voice level, professional, controlled. I need to get to Atlanta tonight. It's my daughter's birthday tomorrow, and I promised I'd be there. Is there any way to get me on a different flight? Rachel's fingers flew across her keyboard with practiced disinterest. Everything's booked. Next available is tomorrow at 2 p.m. What about other airlines? You'd have to check with them directly. Can you help me with that? A heavy sigh. Ma'am, I have dozens of passengers from this cancelled flight. I can't spend time calling other airlines for you. The dismissal was clear. But Amara pressed on. I understand you're busy. But I'm a surgeon. I just spent 2 weeks in Ghana operating on children, and I haven't slept in over 30 hours. I'm trying to get home to my little girl. Is there anything you can do? Rachel's expression didn't change. No sympathy. No acknowledgement of Amara's work or exhaustion. Just blank indifference. Like I said, next flight is tomorrow at 2 p.m. You can take it or leave it. Around them, other passengers were listening now. The young woman who'd spoken up earlier looked furious. A man recording on his phone shook his head in disgust. Amara felt something shift inside her. Not anger exactly, but a kind of clarity. She looked around at all the other stranded passengers, families stressed about accommodations, business people frustrated about missed meetings, elderly couples worried about their medications. Then she looked back at Rachel, at this woman who treated her with such casual cruelty, such thoughtless disrespect. And Amara made a decision that would change everything. The generosity. Actually, Amara said quietly, I'd like to purchase tickets for everyone. Rachel blinked. Excuse me? Everyone from Flight 2847. I'd like to buy them all tickets on other airlines so they can get to their destinations tonight. The gate area went silent. Every conversation stopped. Every head turned. Rachel's professional mask slipped. That would be over 200 tickets. I'm aware. That would cost. I know what it would cost. Amara pulled out her credit card, Black American Express, Unlimited. Can you do it, or should I speak with your supervisor? For the first time since Amara had approached the desk, Rachel actually looked at her. Really looked at her. And Amara could see the calculations happening behind her eyes, the reassessment, the confusion, the dawning horror of who she might have been dismissing for the past 20 minutes. I'm not sure I have the authority. Then get someone who does. Within minutes, a supervisor appeared, a middle-aged man named Tom whose eyes widened when Rachel explained the situation. Ma'am, Tom said carefully, purchasing tickets for 200 passengers on different airlines. We're talking about potentially $150,000 or more. I understand. And you want to do this because... Amara looked around at the stranded passengers, many of whom were now gathered around, listening in disbelief. Because I've been invisible at this desk for 20 minutes. Because I'm exhausted and frustrated and treated with disrespect. Because I know what it feels like to be unseen, dismissed, and devalued. She paused. But instead of just being angry about it, I'd rather do something good. These people deserve to get home. And I can help make that happen. The young woman who defended Amara started crying. An elderly man near the back removed his cap, as if he was in church. Tom nodded slowly. It's going to take some time to arrange. I have time now. I'll wait. Amara smiled slightly. Besides, waiting seems to be something I'm good at. The dig landed. Rachel had the decency to look ashamed. For the next 2 hours, airline staff worked frantically to book alternative flights. Different airlines, different routes, whatever would get people to their destinations. A mother with 3 kids got routed through Dallas. A businessman made a connection through Denver. An elderly couple got direct flights to their daughter's wedding. One by one, passengers approached Amara, some with tears, some with handshakes, all with gratitude. Why are you doing this? Asked a woman holding a toddler. Because kindness should be louder than cruelty. Amara said simply. As the hours passed, something remarkable happened. The mood in the gate area transformed. Strangers shared food. People helped each other with luggage. Someone started a group chat to keep everyone updated on their flights. The community that formed in those hours was born from Amara's generosity. Rachel approached Amara near the end, her eyes red. "Dr. Okafor, I owe you an apology. A real one. What I did was inexcusable. I saw you, and I made assumptions. I treated you as less than. And you responded with grace I don't deserve." Amara studied her for a moment. "You're right. You don't deserve it. But grace isn't about deserving. It's about choosing to be better than the hurt someone causes you. I don't know how to make this right. You make it right by never treating another person the way you treated me. You make it right by examining your biases and changing your behavior. You make it right by being the person who sees everyone, not just the people who look like they matter to you." Rachel nodded, tears falling freely now. When Amara finally boarded her own flight, business class on United, leaving in an hour, the entire gate area erupted in applause. 200 people stood and clapped for this woman who turned discrimination into an act of profound generosity. The final cost? $187,000. The impact? Immeasurable. The video of Dr. Amara Okafor's generosity went viral within hours. News outlets picked up the story. The airline issued a public apology and committed to bias training for all staff. Rachel was suspended, then quietly transferred to a non-customer-facing role. But the real story isn't about Rachel's punishment or the airline's response. It's about how Dr. Okafor chose to respond to injustice with extraordinary grace. She could have escalated, could have demanded to speak to managers, filed complaints, made it about her mistreatment, which would have been completely justified. Instead, she made it about everyone else. She transformed her pain into purpose and her frustration into generosity. Here's what this story teaches us: responding to racism with grace doesn't mean accepting it. It means refusing to let someone else's smallness make you small. It means choosing your response instead of letting their actions dictate your reaction. But let's be clear, Dr. Okafor could do this because she had resources. Not everyone can respond to discrimination by spending $187,000. That's not the point. The point is that she saw past her own hurt to recognize others' needs. That's something we can all do, regardless of our bank account. If you witness discrimination, speak up like that young woman did. Don't let people be invisible. Use your voice to validate their experience. If you experience discrimination, know that your response is your choice. Anger is valid. Complaints are justified. But you get to decide how this moment shapes you. Share this story as a reminder that grace and accountability can coexist. Subscribe for more stories of real people responding to injustice in extraordinary ways. Hit the notification bell. And comment below, how would you have responded? What does grace in the face of injustice look like to you? Dr. Okafor showed us that being seen is a choice we make, for ourselves and for others. Let's choose to see everyone.